Epic Originals presents My Pet Slime Diaries, Book 5. Written by Marcy Colleen and Laren Brown. Illustrated by Renee Carilla. Performed by Rachel L. Jacobs. No peeking. These are the classified thoughts of Piper McLean. Thank you. Dear Diary, Piper and Cosmo here. I wish I could say that the weather report has changed, but it hasn't. I've been checking meteorologist Marisol's website every day, and there's not a single flake of snow in the forecast.
It's going to be a beautiful sunny week. Meteorologist Marisol says Sunday, 32 degrees, Monday, 30 degrees, Tuesday, 29 degrees, Wednesday, 16 degrees, Thursday, 15 degrees.
Without snow, the big annual neighborhood snow person extravaganza, my absolute favorite winter event, will have to be canceled. My plans for the ultimate snow person are melting away, and Cosmo's first winter won't be as magical as I'd hoped. Yesterday, I went door to door and delivered the extravaganza announcement snow globes that Cosmo and I made. Everyone liked them, and people kept calling me the neighborhood artist.
That's Pipe Cleaner McLean for you,
said Danny Fredericks. Pipe Cleaner McLean. He gave me that nickname a long time ago because I'm always making something crafty, often with pipe cleaners. At first, I thought the nickname was kinda annoying, but now I like it. Mr. Harrison loved his snow globe with the pink plastic cactus. He displayed it on his fireplace mantle right away. It feels good to create crafty gifts for people. Even if the extravaganza doesn't happen, at least I made people smile. Besides, this is my winter break. I will not spend it staring out the window or checking the weather report and wishing it would snow. Mom says that's moping, which basically means pouting. Piper McLean is not a pouter. Instead, Cosmo and I tackled our list of wintertime projects, starting with Operation Hot Cocoa. Operation Hot Cocoa! Yum, yum. Dad was taking a break from writing, and I could hear him in the kitchen. So, it was the perfect time to ask for help. I know that sometimes when he takes a break, he makes a cup of tea. He says that when he's feeling stuck, it helps to just sit with a hot cup and daydream. He calls it his drink-think time. Drink-think time. So, why not make it a hot cocoa drink-think time? It just might lead to some sweet results. If you ask me, hot cocoa is an essential drink when it's cold outside. But I'm allergic to dairy, so I can't use cow's milk. And water just makes it taste, well, watery. So I used oat milk and coconut whipped cream. It was so creamy and delicious. Piper's dairy-free creamy hot cocoa. 1/4 cup unsweetened cocoa powder. 1/2 cup granulated sugar. 1/3 cup hot water. 1/8 teaspoon salt. Weird, I know, but it makes the chocolate taste chocolatier and balances the sweetness of the sugar and the bitterness of the cocoa powder. 4 cups oat milk. 1 teaspoon vanilla extract. A big, huge swirl of coconut whipped cream. I'd say this is optional, but for me, it's a necessity. I put the cocoa, sugar, water, and salt into a saucepan and Dad brought it to a simmer on the stove. He let me stir it constantly until it was smooth. Then, he turned down the heat, and I stirred in the oat milk. We were careful not to let it boil. Dad removed the pan from the heat, and Cosmo stirred in the vanilla. We poured the cocoa into 3 mugs, then topped it with whipped cream. It was nice sharing drink-think time with Dad and Cosmo. We sat in the living room, hugging our warm mugs and daydreaming. Well, I was daydreaming. Cosmo gulped down his cocoa fast. I guess he liked it, and spent the rest of the time shaking the snow globe I made for our family. It has little people inside that look like Mom, Dad, me, and Grandma Sadie. My house. I even made a little Cosmo. It would be so much easier if the whole neighborhood was in a giant snow globe, and all it took to make it snow was a little glitter, a few sequins, water, and baby oil. Then the whole neighborhood could make sparkly snow angels. It was silly and fun to imagine, but it also gave me an idea. It's impossible to control the weather, but the point of the extravaganza is to build a snow person. There are lots of materials to build with. So, what if we all choose to use something other than snow? One time, I made an indoor snow person out of cotton ball covered balloons that were stacked on top of each other. Our entire neighborhood could get extra creative and use whatever materials they have so we don't have to cancel the extravaganza. It just might work. After all, nothing's impossible. Dear Diary, I am so excited about the idea of making this year's snow people out of artificial snow. Emphasis on the art. Artificial means fake, so anything and everything will be okay to build with. The artificial snow people can be flat or 3-dimensional, and they can be any size. Of course, because these snow people will be outside for the whole street to enjoy, it would be a good idea to build with weatherproof materials. Cosmo and I are going to make some examples for people to use as inspiration, which means a craftastic scavenger hunt is in order. We put on our searching hats and explored every inch of the house for ideas. Cosmo lit up when he saw the laundry basket and suggested someone make a snow person out of balled-up socks. Those are kinda like snowballs, only soft, squishy, and fresh-smelling. Cosmo is so clever. In the kitchen, we found some old plastic plates that could be hung on a door or fence to make a snow person. We also found a lot of reusable plastic containers. Someone could stack a few of those for a short and squatty creation. But good luck trying to find matching lids. The recycling bin had some other good possibilities, from empty milk jugs to large tin cans. All they'd need is a little paint and pizzazz. Cosmo also found some white garbage bags that could be stuffed and decorated. Talk about a creative idea, turning trash into art. And we found a round white plastic table in the garage that would be cute propped on its side with a scarf and other details added to make a face. We have a pretty long list of possible ideas. Now, all we have to do is run the new plan by our neighbors. I hope they're as excited as we are to turn this into the first ever neighborhood artificial snow person extravaganza. Dear Diary, Cosmo and I created a new announcement for the extravaganza. But this time, Mom helped us post it on the neighborhood message board. It was better than going door to door because it was super cold outside. Yup, it's gotten even colder since the last time I wrote a new diary. Does that mean the air is getting drier and it's even less likely to snow? I hope not. But I've got a new plan, so I won't let some missing snow get me down. Anyway, people started replying to our announcement right away. Neighborhood message board. New plan. The Artificial Snow Person Extravaganza. Posted by Piper McLean. 5 likes, 10 hearts. Comments. How fun! Smiley face. Can't wait.
Surprised face. What a great idea!
Everyone's wheels were definitely turning. That's how Ms. Levine describes it when we're deep in thought about our science projects. But can you imagine if we really had wheels in our heads that would turn like squeaky gears when we're thinking? That would be so noisy. Anyway, I finally realized that I'd been so busy putting together a list of ideas for everyone else, I hadn't even thought about what I'd use to create my snow person. It was time to get my own craft on. Although, I liked the idea of using objects I could find around the house. I wanted to create something that really looked like snow. Then I could stick to my original design. I knew this was going to take some experimenting. And I love experimenting. Luckily, Mom was at the kitchen table reading, so she could supervise while I got right to work. I had a feeling things were going to get really messy. I had already used the computer to research some ways to make fake snowflakes. Or, as I like to call them, snow fakes. Get it? The first recipe I found used paper towels shredded into tiny pieces. Whirr! Cosmo liked helping with the shredding. You had to use a blender to combine the paper towel pieces with baking soda and a few drops of water, so I asked Mom for help with that part. The recipe said that, after blending, you could just mix things up with a fork to create a snowy texture. But it didn't feel like snow at all. Also, I couldn't get it to form a ball. It was way too crumbly. So, the experiment was fun, but I needed to try something else. Soap flakes. The next recipe I tried used flour, cornstarch, and baby oil. I even added some silver glitter so it would sparkle in the sun like real snow. This version felt nice to run my fingers through, but it was too dry to stick together, so that wasn't going to work. Baking soda. One of the recipes I found used liquid starch and soap flakes. But since we didn't have either of those, I used liquid laundry soap and powdered laundry soap instead. Although it smelled really pretty, it was soupy and sticky. There was no way I was going to be able to sculpt with it. But Mom said that she can still wash clothes with it, so it wasn't a total waste. Even the version I made with baking soda and shaving cream, which was supposed to be moldable like clay, turned out to be crumbly. It was super frustrating. I wanted to give up. Grandma Sadie says that everyone gets frustrated. It's part of the process of creating. What's most important is that we keep trying. It's called persistence. Persistence. She said that even the scientists at Astroblast Explorers, that's where she works, sometimes struggle and make mistakes. One time they set off on a mission and went in the totally wrong direction. Can you imagine that? I mean, there are no road signs in outer space, so I guess it makes sense that you could take a wrong turn somewhere. After dinner, I'll get back to it. But right now, my brain could use some fuel. It's been working extra hard.
I think you should have taken a left turn back there, Fred.
Dear Diary, it's amazing how taking a break from a creative problem can help you get unstuck. After spending a really frustrating afternoon making a bunch of versions of fake snow that didn't work, I cleaned up the kitchen and helped Dad get dinner ready. We were having beef stew, which had been simmering in the slow cooker all day long. All we needed to do was make the mashed potatoes. We make them with vegetable stock instead of butter and milk, so they're dairy-free and I can eat them. Once the potatoes were boiled and ready, it was time for me to mush and squish them. This is always my favorite part. But today, it reminded me of my not-so-great fake snow experiments. I started imagining making a snow person out of mashed potatoes. The birds and squirrels might like that, but I'd rather not let anyone take a chomp out of my creation. After the potatoes were all mashed, my arm was a little achy and needed a rest. It reminded me of how my arm feels when Mom and I make homemade modeling clay. That's when I had my best idea yet. What I need for my snow person is a material that can be sculpted. All the fake snow recipes I tried were either too dry or too lumpy or too sticky. I don't have enough store-bought modeling clay to build my snow person. But I could make as much of the homemade stuff as I need. I ran this idea by Mom and Dad. They agreed to help me make some after dinner. It's really an easy recipe. Mainly, it's just flour, salt, and water. Flour. I didn't even have to add food coloring like I usually do. Because I want my snow person to be as white as snow. Easy freezy. I had to adjust my first design because I didn't want to be making modeling clay all night. I'd been counting on tons of snow so I could make a super large sculpture. But that's okay. It's good to be flexible when you're making art because things don't always go as planned. Be flexible, like Play-Doh. Once the modeling clay was ready, I kneaded in some purple glitter to give it a little extra pop. And then I started sculpting it into my top secret design. Snow Cosmo. The real Cosmo was delighted. Snow or no snow, Piper McLean finds a way. Now there's no doubt that Cosmo's first winter will be magical. Just in time for the extravaganza tomorrow. Snow dough. You'll need 2 cups all-purpose flour. I made a lot of this so my Snow Cosmo could be life-size. This recipe makes plenty to play with. 1/2 cup salt. 1 cup water. Glitter. This is optional, but I added it to my dough for some extra sparkle. 1. In a large bowl, combine the flour and salt. Use clean hands to mix them together. 2. Add water to the bowl, 1 dribble at a time. Mix after each addition until it starts to form a dough. Once that happens, Add a little more water. Press the dough down, fold it over, and press and fold some more. That's called kneading. If you're adding glitter, now's the time to knead that in too. 3. When the dough feels squeezable, try rolling it into a ball. If the ball holds its shape, your dough is almost ready. Keep kneading until the dough is nice and smooth. If it's too soft and the ball sags, knead in more flour, 1 spoonful at a time, until the dough is firm. If it's too sticky to work with, add more salt a pinch at a time. 4. When your snow dough is ready, you can play with it right away and let it air dry in the shapes you sculpt. Or store your dough in an airtight container in the refrigerator for up to 2 weeks. What is Piper's top secret design for the big annual neighborhood snow person extravaganza? Find out in My Pet Slime Diaries, Book 6.